At 2 years old, my mother put me on a metronome. So this might give you some ways to know. I've always been this way. But anyway, everybody knows what a metronome is, right? Okay, so when I was about 6, I stopped working on the metronome because my mama said, "Okay, you got it, son." And so I said, "Mama, can I take it outside and destroy it? I hate this thing." And so she says, "No, son." All this is in Spanish. She says, "No, son. Now we learned how to make the metronome sound good. So I'm supposed to take my work and make a static thing sound like it's grooving." Most of the time when I'm working, I can't say for anybody else, but I'm not thinking about technical things. I'm thinking about is this grooving? Is this vibing? Is it grabbing me? Is it making me feel something? You know? And so I highly recommend you try to start doing that, because that's what we're all about. Music is not anything other than just your heart.
As you've done before, please tell everyone, what are you talking about when you say trust between the artist and the engineer? What is that? Why is it important? I don't understand. I'm a guy. Help me out.
Okay, first of all, Colin is the best, okay? You're the best interviewee person. I love this. So the trust between an engineer and the artist, or the engineer and the vocal producer, all of that. Being a singer is so personal and it's so vulnerable, and to be able to feel like you can make mistakes, to be able to feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to try something that's outside of my comfort zone, something that's like reaching for a note, whatever, to make your artist feel comfortable and safe to do that is just really, really important. So I think like as a vocal producer, that's something that's really, really important to me. And I don't go into the school of vocal production that's negative. It's always yes and. It's always highlighting the things that are done really well and being excited with them. Like I'm like the cheerleader in the studio that's like dancing around and jumping around, because that's like how we get the best things, right? Like that's how we could be our best versions of ourselves. So having that safe space is like so much of the work, you know?
See, right? Everyone's like, really, that's a great idea. All the guys are like, really, I've never done that before. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But with that, like, so how? I mean, it's one thing to like, encourage the person, go for those notes, or, you should try to do it that other way you talked about. But, do those conversations start before you go into the studio, or do they start when you're in the studio, or both, or?
So it's when you're in the studio. So a lot of the times I'm meeting the artist for the first time when we are at the studio and in the session. So it's just making it so that all the little things are taken care of. So starting it out so they come in the room. I'm not troubleshooting when they get in there, right? Everything is working, sounding good. So they start singing and they're already excited about how it's sounding in their headphones. That's like a part of the trust as well. And then making it so that they know that you have everything under control. And then that trust just builds as you start to go. You make it so that you're a team. So like if you want them to sound good, right? And that's your job. You're coming there to do that. So if you win together, you win together. If you lose together, you lose together. But they're not alone in this thing. And so like I'm very physical when I vocal produce. I'm very just like, beautiful. Yes. Okay. Yes. And then like I stand up and do things, but it's that physicality so that it's not just again, so it's that they feel that. So a lot of the times, sometimes maybe in the beginning, they'll feel a little nervous and we're doing verse 1, right? But at the end of the song, sometimes then I'll come back and do verse 1 again when they feel that trust there and they've come to the point where they're feeling really comfortable, because nothing bad happens. This is making music. So if you mess up, we just record it again. It doesn't matter.
Well, basically at any point in a song, and it could change from section to section or even bar to bar, depending on what the arrangement is like, most likely there are 4 or 5 things that are really important to the song. So if it's a rock band, it's going to be kick, snare, bass, vocal, and some guitars, right? Nothing else matters as much as that stuff. So that's the stuff that should sound good and feel really good and work together. Then all the rest of the stuff, you can just bring it up sort of anywhere and it will not break the mix because it's not the most important part of the mix. So with percussion, you find a spot where it blends in with the drums and helps the drums feel better, but it doesn't really need to be loud. Now you might have a mix where the tambourine is a huge part of the rhythm. Well, now that's one of the important things. So now that needs to be loud and it needs to be panned in a place that's good. Doesn't get eaten up by the crash cymbal that's being used in the last chorus. So you pan it to the other side, things like that. So things become important, but it's never everything. If you try and get like the best sound on every single instrument in your mix, all you've got is a bunch of stuff that would sound good if you soloed it. Nobody gets to solo it. They listen to everything together. So don't get caught up in sculpting everything in the mix. Get the important stuff good, and there's very little work you need to do with the rest. You find a level and a pan and you're done with it. Move on.